Hello, my friends.
Hello and welcome back.
Evolutionary Energy Arts family. So, guess what we had yet again?
Again and again, there's so many of these going on.
This is a meteor, supposedly, that caused a sonic boom and also, in broad daylight, just made an incredible flash as you look at it here off of a tweet. This is from CNY Central up in New York and Toronto. This is in Toronto, I should say. There were sightings of this everywhere from New York, Toronto, actually all over the place.
And we really only know what we're told about these things. So, yeah.
Yeah, this is really wild. We've seen so much lately as far as these things go. And this is in Ontario. Broad daylight, seeing a meteor coming down. And this is in the right upper area there through the poles. And here we see, and this is strange sounds. Loud bang, houses shake in New York, flash of light in Toronto after huge meteor fireball, they say, explodes in daylight. And, this girl, a lady, was taking her dogs on a sled ride, and you could see it right over there. Pretty wild. This person says, I'm in central New York outside of Syracuse. About a half hour ago, heard a big boom and the house shook. Reports coming in from cities, towns, and villages for miles around. Fire and police trying to find the cause. So the space rock didn't stop over New York City, but was reported flying in the sky over Maryland, Michigan, New York, Ohio, Pennsylvania, and Virginia, as well as Ontario, Canada.
I know, I'm just getting more questions every day.
Yeah, that's a big, big area. From Virginia all the way up to Ontario.
Oh, it's huge, right?
So, yeah, what's going on again? And, there's just been so many of these. And here you see one flying by Toronto, like the Space Needle. I'm not sure if they call that the Space Needle. I've actually been up there a long time ago. It's pretty, nerve-wracking going up if you don't like heights.
I love heights.
She does. So, wow, look at that. It was such a bright flash in broad daylight. So the American Meteor Society received more than 150 reports, mainly from New York and Ontario. But as we said, Maryland, Michigan, Ohio, Pennsylvania, and Virginia also said they saw this.
I don't know. That's a pretty big area for a little flash.
It's a big expanse. There's a lot of videos here for you guys to take a peek at as well. We've just had so many of them, and more than I could remember, and it's just it gets you wondering.
It really, really, truly does.
And there was a landslide as well up in Alaska, as we're seeing here, caused a lot of damage. Thankfully it's not that populated of an area here, but it is a major landslide. And as we see here, can you imagine if something like this happened in a heavily populated area? We still have 6 people missing, though, and this is in Haines, which is southeast Alaska.
No, those landslides are so unforgiving.
Yeah, it's terrifying to think of it. And, when I was up in North Carolina, once we heard a boom. I was sitting on the front porch with a friend, and, we knew there was a landslide that happened on the back end of the mountain where we were. We see this often in many areas, say in Central and South America, where there's mountains that are getting saturated by heavy rains, and that's exactly what happened here. 6 people went missing after a massive landslide, and hopefully they will be found okay, among many other smaller ones hit in the community of Haines in southeast Alaska following heavy rains. So you have 9 feet of debris engulfing the area, damaging at least 4 houses. Residents describe the incident as the worst they've ever experienced. So we've had a significant rainfall on top of frozen ground and snow, Haines Mayor Douglas Olerud told NBC affiliate KTUU of Anchorage. He added there's been smaller landslides, but the largest occurred Wednesday afternoon, leaving houses damaged and 6 people missing. The town has about 2,500 residents, and those missing were in the Beach Road area where the largest landslide of up to 600 feet wide occurred. A resident named Rebecca Kamika, who lives on Beach Road, said the slides also caused significant road damage, leaving some neighborhoods inaccessible. And yeah, there are photos of that as well. It's scary. Landslides like that are a terrifying thing. Look at that road.
I know, that's a major devastation.
Yeah, that's certainly inaccessible now. You will need definitely the dogs and the sled to get around.
You sure will.
And so there's video here as well. All the locals say it really looks horrible. And let's send our prayers for those 6 missing people, that they will be found okay.
Most definitely.
And over in Turkey, we have a shallow 5.0 quake that hits. And again, in this area, like a 5.0, we see them all the time. There's many, many 5.0s just on a regular basis. But in areas with certain geological structures and very old buildings, then you can have a devastating effect from a 5.0.
That would be very scary to be there.
As you see, this structure just crumbled. This one's missing a wall over here, cracks throughout. And there's videos here as well. Turkey is crisscrossed by fault lines. The country was also hit by 2 strong tremors earlier this year. The first one hit near the port of Izmir last month, killing 117 people. And the other one struck on the province of Elazig, killing 41 people back in January of 2020. So it's definitely been an uptick year for quakes and volcanoes. As we reported yesterday, lots of volcanoes going off. We do expect, that as time goes on, we'll see some going off probably in our Pacific Northwest as well. And record cold, record fast zonal winds, missing non-dilution clouds, and an open ozone hole. Antarctica weather has scientists in a spin. And this is all about basically it's a combination of the grand solar minimum and the magnetic pole reversal.
That's very, very interesting.
And I was going to do an update on the magnetic pole reversal, which I still probably will do. The thing is, it's hard to find any new data. I did one about 2 years ago that ended up getting like 250,000 views. It was like the second most watched video we've ever done. And yet, when I look for new data, it's like they just don't want to share.
I know, it's just not out there.
Yeah, from official sources. There are people that are trying to do their own thing out there. And, I guess that's what we got to do when the official sources don't seem to want to give us the truth.
I know, they do that a lot.
So non-dilution clouds are the Earth's highest clouds. Water crystallizing around specks of dust 83 kilometers above Earth's surface creates beautiful electric blue structures, typically visible from November to February in the southern hemisphere and May to August in the northern counterpart. Their appearance over Antarctica in 2020 is now seriously overdue. And when I think of the color, it's the color of the life force.
Oh my gosh, you're right. That's so beautiful. I mean, look at that. That's just something that's breathtaking, actually.
And they should be there, but they're late. And so, with me, I'm thinking it's due to the magnetosphere, which again, how far down is the magnetosphere really? So we have the southern ozone hole. Earth's southern ozone hole is not only open, but also it's the biggest it's ever been in December. So, that's interesting. And that's, something that can be very concerning, because we were wondering about, how far along we truly are into this magnetic pole reversal, which was speeding up. I mean, we had data that was showing us that the true North Pole has crossed over the center point and is already, heading over towards Siberia on that side. We know that as the magnetosphere declines, there's the possibility, just like when the sun goes through its cycle, it develops more than one north, quote-unquote, pole and south, quote-unquote, poles. And it's the same situation with Earth, that we could end up developing more than one. And boy, everything is going to change. So, I mean, we're talking, a lot more cosmic rays coming through, mutations. And of course they've been feeding us all this global warming stuff, but as you see here, Antarctica isn't warming, not even in the slightest. Satellites reveal sea ice extent around the southern pole has actually grown over the past 40 plus years. So we get all this revisionist data constantly. It's really kind of a joke when you get down to it. Record cold as well. As you see this tweet, and this is Dr. Amy Butler, never before seen minimum temperatures in the southern hemisphere, with temperatures cold enough for PSC type 2 formation a full month longer than average. There's rapid change going on, not to make everybody think it's going to be just like the day after tomorrow. All of a sudden you're going to step out and, New York City is going to be 60 degrees below Fahrenheit, but things are changing. We've seen so many wind events as well. You had a nightmare / vision the other night about a wind event that we were in.
I did. We were in a trailer and I could see the winds outside, and for some reason I thought they were going about 300 miles an hour, and the whole trailer just uplifted and flipped.
Yeah, and that's scary. I mean, we had some times in the Nevada desert when the winds got really, really strong and it felt like it might flip. And we have actually seen roofs blown off people's houses and the like. So, yeah, the winds, that's where having a structure like an earth bag home, which is, it has been kind of like the dream. And I actually do have thousands of earth bags that I've purchased once we find our place. We have the earth bags to develop and build a structure in a dome, because domes are the strongest structures, and whether we're talking about like the earthquake over in Turkey, they're the most earthquake resistant structures. And then when you're building with the earth bags too, very heavy and dense, and by the way, it'll also keep some of the energy waves out, like the FIVEG. So there's a lot of benefits to it, as well as the thermal insulation. Like, we've been lucky enough to stay in a cabin, a very small cabin that's actually built down into the ground, and it's all earthen construction for the most part. It does have some nice beams, but it stays amazingly warm. Like, when it gets down to single digits, and we'll still be like 63 degrees without any heat.
I know. I've never been in anything like this.
So, it's also good, again, that dome structure for when we get to the point where the winds are, picking up ever more and increasing in strength, which we're seeing. The storms are getting stronger. We're seeing massive hail as well. So we have record fast zonal winds. In the stratosphere, east-west winds at 60 degrees south are blowing at record speed. And Lynn Harvey, also at LASP, gathered plots shown below from the Goddard Space Flight Center that reveal some unusual meteorology. We're in a time of change, and it's definitely buckle up time, although we still feel that, we have maybe 10 years more before we see the big earth change events. If you could actually believe that, with everything we've seen, it's going to keep kind of ramping up. Although the geopolitical hopefully will be all calming down and settled by that time, maybe.
I'm feeling that it probably should be. I feel people are actually going to rise up and stand up for themselves here soon.
I think they are starting to. Extreme rain causes deadly flooding in central Vietnam. We had talked about Vietnam and the Philippines, which have been hit by record storms, storm after storm after storm after storm. 39 inches of rain will cause a lot of problems, and that's what they're dealing with. As you can see, again, you need a boat to go down Main Street. We've been saying this since August of 2017 when, the eclipse came. So many people evacuated, so many people stranded, so many people have basically lost their houses and belongings. And Tropical Cyclone Barevi did make landfall over Sri Lanka and heads towards Tamil Nadu. And again, this is not a very strong storm as far as the winds, 55 miles an hour, but it is bringing heavy rains, which can, as we see, cause a lot of issues.
Oh, yeah, a lot of issues.
So we want to thank everybody for being part of this family. Also, thank you for your support on Ko-Fi and Patreon. Stay prepared out there, guys. God bless and namaste.
Namaste.